I'm here today with Robbie Trower, the Sales Manager in Northern Europe at Kodak Alaris. Welcome, Robbie, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you, good morning.
So, scanners from Kodak Alaris are renowned for reliability and superior image quality. As a manufacturer of dedicated document scanners, where do you see the company sitting in the overall capture industry?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because I think the industry evolves all the time. There's always changes going on in our industry. One of the main reasons I joined Kodak Alaris 4.5 years ago now was because Kodak always had such a broad portfolio compared to everybody else. You know, the broadest range of hardware options. But when you look at the software side as well, the capture software that Kodak have had for years now, nobody else could offer that suite, you know, that sort of answer to the question of capture. If somebody's got a requirement for either, you know, document scanners, capture software, or both, Kodak's been, you know, for many years one of the only companies that can do all of those things in one go. So I think that's always been one of its strengths that makes it sort of pretty unique in the industry. But more recently, I think what's key is if you look at the top 5 document scanner brands or document scanner manufacturers in the industry, we're the only ones that are actually a document scanner company. We're the only ones that are focused on document scanners and focused on capture. All of our competitors have got another background, or they've been absorbed into another business, mostly print, to be fair. You know, there's print companies out there that have scanners as part of their range. It's not necessarily their focus where it is with us. It's completely our focus because it's all we do. So we're not sort of like, we're not a jack of all trades, we're a master of one.
So you recently created a global business solutions organisation and announced plans to transition to a software solution-led business. How have you managed that go-to-market shift with your channel partners?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Kodak has had a software strategy for well over a decade. We've been producing our Capture Pro software, you know, for well over 10 years, and it's very successful in the marketplace. So when it comes to expanding our software portfolio and expanding our software reach into the industry, into our partners, etc., a lot of them were already aware that we had software strengths and that we weren't just a scanner company. So for us to say that, you know, our portfolio is expanding, its capabilities have grown, it can do so much more, it can fix so many more problems, it was something that we weren't having to push against closed doors, because I think people were already aware of that. That makes sense. So when we simply said that, you know, our software that has always had this capability now has much broader range, it's fair to say that it's been received very well.
So, taking that point, it's been received well, obviously by the traditional, probably the capture channel.
Yeah.
But in terms of traditional MFP resellers, how's that sort of changed their mindset, rather than using MFPs to do scanning, their customers using MFPs to do scanning? Have you seen a sort of a change in mindset there, that they can see a place for dedicated document scanners within their managed print, managed services offering?
Yeah, I think there's 2 parts to this really. There are a lot of managed print organisations out there, and your traditional MFP resellers and dealers out there that have done a little bit of scan every now and again. They've sold dedicated scanners, but not seen it as the size of an opportunity that they now see it as, if you sort of mean. They didn't recognise the scale of the industry that we're in. But going back to a point I made earlier about Kodak Alaris being dedicated and focused on scanning and capture and not being part of a larger print organisation, if you look at all of the print companies that we do work with, where we complement their range, they're going to work with us because they wouldn't want to work with one of their competitors, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Because we are standalone, non-print, we complement so many companies out there, you know, the big ones, as it were, in the print industry. And as that filters down from those manufacturers to their main channel and to their dealers, etc., then there's a little bit of education involved with those companies in identifying scanning opportunities, identifying capture opportunities as well, where software might be needed. And they all have open arms to finding new ways of generating more revenue with their customers. When they're in with their customers talking about their current print machines, their current click rates, all that, they can start to ask more questions about what do they do about scanning, what systems does the scan documents need to go into, and things like that. So they're learning more from us as we get closer to them. And they see that as more revenue for them, but also them getting closer to their customers and probably adding more value than some of their competitors can do. So they see it as an absolute win-win.
You mentioned accelerating growth within the adjacent software solutions, in particular intelligent document processing, IDP solutions, is a business priority. Can you tell me a little bit more information about what your IDP offering actually is?
Yeah, sure. I mentioned earlier that we've had scanning software for well over a decade with Capture Pro, and that's always been very well received when it comes to sort of managing batches of documents, doing simple capture like fixed OCR positions, database look at reading barcodes, for example, things like that. But it's really good at managing volumes as well. That's really where it's been successful. So if you look at some of the higher volume end users that we have, whether that's local government, central government, or bureaus, that's predominantly what they like using it for. But the next step up from that is what we sort of call more complex capture, or is what's known in the industry as IDP, Intelligent Document Processing. IDP is really all about so much more than just grabbing a little bit of information from a document and passing it on. IDP starts with the system looking at each individual document or batch of documents and determining what each document is, so classifying that document. You could, in fact, just give it a huge batch of pages and it will work out where a document starts and finishes in that batch. Then once it knows that, it will say, right, I'm going to look at the document now and work out what type of document this is, because each different type of document has a different workflow. For example, accounts payable invoices go in one direction, correspondence go in another direction, application forms go over there, etc., etc. So the first step is really managing that batch into individual documents and then classifying those documents into those types. Once that's been done, we know, right, I know what the document type is. I know now what to do with that document. So the system will say, with this document type, I need to look for this information. This is the information I need from this document, extracts that. Maybe it validates it against databases as well, just to make sure it's captured everything correctly. And then it passes it on to the next system. And it will do that for each of the document types. So in theory, you could have an organization where every single document coming into the organization, be that paper-based or digital via emails, whatever it might be, they can go through the system and end up in the right system, whether that's an ERP system, a CRM system, HR database, whatever it might be. The point is that it doesn't really matter what the document type is or where it needs to go. IDP is that hub that sits between the documents coming in and where they need to live.
And obviously, digital transformation, DX strategies have accelerated at pace, which is creating incremental opportunities within the document capture, the document scanning market. So how can you help, or how do you help your partners address and resolve, if you like, their customers' pain points around enabling successful digital transformation?
I guess it depends on where that partner is on their journey of talking about digital transformation to their customers, because we've got some very well established partners that that do a lot of those things already. But those, I'd say, that are embracing the IDP offering from Kodak Alaris, we have a sort of, I guess you could call it an onboarding process, even for existing partners. It's it's a case of understanding how the product works. Understanding how it's commercially licensed, what the commercial proposition is, because that's a key thing for our partners. They need to know, if I'm going to be selling this, what is it I'm selling, and you know, how do I package this up, you know? So that's a really key part to that onboarding process, understanding the commercials behind it. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of discussions and training around what key things they should be looking for within their install base, within their customers. So key questions about what are they doing in, say, a certain department within that organization, which might be, you know, might be mailroom, might be accounts payable, in areas where we see a document heavy, document intensive. But again, it kind of depends on the vertical as well, because if it's, you know, if it's a manufacturing company or a logistics company, we know where the sweet spots are with that, because they're paper heavy when it comes to, you know, getting products produced and products shipped and things like that. Whereas a law firm, it's all about incoming mail and getting those documents, you know, classified and indexed and in front of the fee earner so that the fee earner can do their job. So there's quite a lot of involvement when it comes to talking to different types of end users. So what we say to partners that want to go down this route is that we've got a reasonably substantial and skilled sales team at Kodak Alaris, and we'll do a lot of that upfront work with them initially as part of a, you know, training, if you like, just to get them used to it. So their first few meetings with their customers about document capture, about IDP, we'll be there with them. And we even offer to do the first few installs for them, and they can shadow us and then hand that over as well, so that they become self-sufficient in doing the installations as well, because they're not always set up for that right from the very start. You know, it takes time. So really, it's a whole hand-holding process. We help them with the identifying opportunities. We help them with the sales engagement, the sales process itself. We help them with the project management and delivering the installations. All of that until they're comfortable enough to let go of any one of those particular areas, and we can sort of say, okay, yeah, you're self-sufficient now, away you go. So
Kodak Alaris has long maintained 90%, I think it is, of your business comes from the channel. The channel is obviously a key integral part of the business. So in terms of, you know, future strategy, obviously the business is evolving. We've got IDP offerings. We've now got a solutions-led sales approach. So looking ahead to the channel, and how will your strategy evolve to support partners as you as a business indeed transition?
Yeah, you're right. The channel, our partners in the channel in Northern Europe are key, very much a key part of our business. And we've got some very strong and close relationships with our partners, as I mentioned earlier. With regards to strategy moving forward, we've recognised that, you know, looking back at our revenues in the past, say, 3 or 4 years, that there has been an impressive increase in software revenues as part of what we're doing. If you look at the overall revenue that we do, whether it's, you know, in the UK or any other part of Europe, we've seen an increase in that software revenue. So we're clearly making the right sort of noises and doing the right things to support our partners in that respect, to support that growth, where we've been talking more about software, making people more aware about what we do, making people more aware about our whole portfolio has been a key part of that. So for example, if we look at just the hardware side for now, we've got some very, very keen promotions on that started this quarter, run into next quarter, that help support our partners secure their business, secure business with their customers. And they're very, very keen on these. You know, when we launch these sorts of hardware promotions, they're always very well received, particularly on this occasion. We've got a key model in the A4 range and a good subset of our A3 range as well that's in there. And on the software side, it is still very much increasing that education. It's just putting more of that information out there. So we recently run a series of webinars. I think it's like 6 or 7 or 8 key webinars about the info input software, the sort of IDP offering and its capabilities. It starts right from the very basics of sort of scanning batches, and it moves on to classification, moves on to indexing and all those kinds of great things, and the more complex type of documents that you can capture with it. And those have been very well received. We've had lots of people attend those webinars, and we've had lots of people watch recordings of the webinars afterwards, etc. So we're very much getting that message out there and providing as much support as we can to our partners. And where we've had recent sort of partner days where we've invited people along, to communicate with them and meet with them face to face. Thankfully, after all these years,
yes.
we've had two great events this year. We had one partner day in Milton Keynes. We had one at our new offices in Hemel Hempstead, where we've just relocated offices, and it's very nice and shiny. I suggest you come along and see it at some point. So we had a great open day there at the beginning of October, and part of this is educating the channel. It's continuing to talk to them about what we do, and only a small part of that day was talking about scanners. It was talking about how do we support you from a marketing perspective, how can we reward you for doing business with you, more about our software offering, how the software works. So I think we're going to continue to push out that message of people need to be more aware of our wider offering in the portfolio, support our partners with the right sort of pricing, the right sort of commercial offering, the right sort of education, the right sort of information that they need, and to keep those communications up to date and as regular as possible.
Robbie, thanks for joining me today. It's been great to have a chat, and actually really interesting to find out more than document scanners, about how software is an integral part in enabling businesses to digitally transform. And refreshing and exciting to hear about how much effort you've put into transforming your partners' strategy and enabling them to capture and win new business in an ever-changing and fast-changing market. So thanks ever so much for your time.
Thank you. It's been great chatting with you.